Hey there, my name's Henrik. Glad you can join us live. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to open a file that has data in it in your program. And no, I don't mean just opening a file in Word document or something like that, but I'm talking about in your program, you want to be able to read data inside your file and then be able to process the data. And this is very useful, and I think it will be very beneficial for you. Teaching, this is the 7th video where I will be teaching about programming, and I'm teaching from 8 p.m. Every night until this coming Friday. So I hope you can join us for the rest of our videos. And if you haven't seen my other videos, I have them in my YouTube channel. You can go back and check out those videos. And this tutorial is supposed to help you in your first step in this programming guide that I created. I created a programming guide called my Personalized Finance App Programming Guide. Basically, it takes you from no coding experience to building your first app. And in this application, basically what you do is you take your credit card transactions, you get a file from your credit card company, and it gives you your transactions for the months, for example. And then you can take that data, you can read it in a program, and you can categorize your data, your transactions in different budget categories, so you know how much you're spending in different budget categories. So this tutorial is supposed to be one of the first steps in that guide. And you can download the guide in the link in the description. It should be there. And if you download it, pay attention to what it says, then you can learn some fundamental programming concepts. Okay? And also at the end of this live, I plan to open it up for Q&A. So if I do something while I'm programming or while I'm doing this tutorial and it doesn't make sense to you, then feel free to ask it at the end of this tutorial. All right, so let's get started. So like I said in my when I was talking about my programming guide, you're going to have to take your credit card transactions, and you get it from a file from your credit card company. Oh yeah, and also if you don't have a credit card, I do have a sample transactions file that looks similar to my credit card, and you can play with that I have it in the guide. So if you don't have a credit card, it's okay. You can actually use my sample file and then be able to create your own. You could play with it in your program, in your application. So anyways, back to what I was saying, you're going to get a transactions file from your credit card company, and it will have your credit card transactions in a file. And today I'm going to teach you how to open the file in your program and then read the first line of data. And once you know how to read the first line, then it's easy to just replicate it and be able to read all of the lines in your file. And this is a really useful and fun application. And this is something that I did in university when I was coding, or when I was learning C in university. So this coding tutorial is in C, by the way, which is a programming language. But you can do this programming guide that I have. You can actually do it in other programming languages as well. You can still follow it in your own preferred programming language. All right, so let's begin. So let's move into my Mac. So this is my Mac, and I'm going to open up Terminal. Terminal is an application in the Mac, and all you have to do is search it up, and you can open it, and it'll bring you to a window like this. It's basically a command line interface, and you type in commands here, and then you can do different things in Mac. Okay, so I'm going to type ls to see what directories I have. So I want to go into my desktop, and you use this to type in your desktop, to go into your desktop folder, I should say. And then I'm going to do ls. I'm going to see what directories are in my desktop. So I made a directory called Henrik M Dev, which is the name of my channel. So let's go in there, and I have nothing inside. So there's no file, and you can actually see it in Finder. It's the same idea. So if you go to your desktop, and then you open this, and there's my directory. All right. So now we're going to make a file, and I'm going to make a file using VI, and VI is just a kind of like a text editor. So I'm going to create a file called vi main.c, and it opens up this, I guess it opens up this window where you can type into your file that you just created. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in #include, and this is the first thing you type in when you're creating a file in C. And this is the standard library stdio.h. Now I'm going to just create this file. So now it's there. You can see it in my Finder window. So there it is. And I'm going to open it with TextEdit just so that it's more intuitive for you. And there you go. So there's the line I just created. All right. And also I do have a transactions file. And this is my sample transactions file that we're going to use for today. It's called transactions.csv, and I'll show you what it looks like. Let's see. Let's open it with TextEdit also. So it's just one line. And this is an example of something you would see in your credit card transactions file. So you have the transaction date, the posted date, the description, which is basically what you bought, debit, and then credit. So we're going to try to read this from our file, from our program. All right, so we have that there. Now in your C program, you're going to create a main function. So int main, and then void, and then I'm going to do printf, and this is the classic first program that you ever write, hello world. Maybe you've already experienced, or you've already had some exposure to that. So return 0. And we do return 0 because this is a function, and every function has to have a return value. Okay, and I can explain more of that later. So this should work. Let's try it. So in your terminal application, just type gcc main.c. GCC is the compiler. You compile your program, and it creates a file called a.out, and you can actually run the a.out. So you run a.out by doing /a.out, and it's an executable that you can run, and there you go. So now you can see hello world. Okay, now we're going to open our transactions file. So there's our transactions file right there, transactions.csv. So let's create another line of code here, and we're going to create a data variable called file, and it's going to be transactions file. And you need this. You just wanted to point out, you do need this star here for your transactions file, and I could explain that in another video. But just know that you have to have that there. And then you do fopen. This is the function that you will use to open your transactions file. So you do fopen transactions.csv, and then you specify what you're doing. Are you going to read it or you're going to write it? You do that. So you do R for read. Okay. So let's try this, and let's see if it compiles. Okay, so it compiled, it ran, but we don't know if it actually worked. But just know that we don't know if it actually worked, but there is a way to check. So there's something you can do. You can do an if statement, and if you can do transactions file, we can do transactions file, and you see this equal sign. That means it has a return value from this fopen. So it will, if it's null, if it's null, then that means that it didn't work. Okay, so we created this if statement. So if it's null, If the fopen returns null, that means it wasn't able to open the transactions file. Okay, so now we'll give the user some kind of print statement saying that it could not open the file. Could not open file. Oh yeah, and this \n is just a new line character, which tells the program to create a new line, to display a new line. All right, and then we should also do. Okay, let's just do this for now. Let's just do that for now. Okay, let's see. Let's try compiling main.c. Okay, it works. Now let's run a.out. Okay, it worked. Okay, now I haven't tried this, but I'm curious. I want to play around. Let's see. What if we were to what if we do like remove the transactions file and we move it somewhere else and we take it out. So let's see, what if we take it, so this is what I'm doing, if you're wondering. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna move it to my downloads folder maybe, or my documents folder. So it's gone now. Now let's try running a.out. So it should have an error. Okay, see? So it says error could not open file. It's because the file does not exist. It's not in the same folder as my application. So let's put it back. Let's see. Let's put it back. I'm going to open my, where did I put it again? I put it in downloads. So I'm going to put it in the, oh no, I think I put it in documents. Yeah, put it in documents. Then I'm going to put it in, I'm going to put it back. And it should be there. Okay. So now it's back. And now if we do it again, now there's no error. All right, so that means we actually opened the file. Okay, now to make sure that, to give us more confidence that we actually opened up the file, let's try to read out the first line. So what you use is fgetS. This is the same command or the same function that I used yesterday. If you were watching, or if you watched the replay of yesterday's video, it's the same function, fgetS, and basically you put in a string, a buffer string, and this is just a place where the first line of data can be stored. The first line of data in your file can be stored, and we also have to declare it. We have to tell the program, hey, we have data that we're reading from a file, and we're going to call it buffer, and we'll make it 1000 characters long. And if you don't understand this thing, watch my previous video about data types. So we'll create this buffer character string, and then we type size of buffer, and then we type in what's the input. Where do we get the actual data? Yesterday we took it from standard input, but today we're going to take it from our transactions file. Transactions file. Okay. Printf. Okay, now let's try printing the buffer. And kind of like we did yesterday, if you were watching, we're going to printf %s for the buffer. We're telling the program, please print my buffer, or please print the first line of data that you get from this file. All right, now let's try that. Let's do GCC and then a.out. Okay, there you go. So there's the first line. So we proved that we're actually reading the first line of data from our file. Now let's go to the actual transactions file, and let's try changing some of the data in there. Where did I put it? Here. So let's say, pretend we use credits. So I added an S there just to make sure that we're actually not hallucinating. We're actually reading the first line of data. So this should say credits afterwards. And there you go. So there's credits. Okay, so now we have some confidence we're actually reading this file. And you can use this fgets command to read the other. You can continue using it to read other lines of data. But for this video, we're just going to read the first line. All right. Now, something you should remember is you should also close your file. So we have this function called fclose, and it's really simple. You just type in the transactions file. All right. And that should close the file. Okay, it's not going to show in the, we're not going to show inside here that it's closed, but you can trust that it's closed. Also, I want to point out if we also need to put like an exit statement here, or maybe we could try return 0. We need to exit the program here if there is an error. So I like to use I would like to use this one, exit _1. And in order to use this, we need to, actually, let's see if it compiles. I think you need another library to use exit, but let's see what happens. Okay, so there's an error. So you need to, it says implicitly declaring library function. You actually need to include the header stdlib.h. So we have to copy this guy, and we'll go do stdlib.h, and that should compile now. All right, now it compiled, so awesome. Now let's see, what if we were to, okay, let's try changing the name of the file so that we can pretend that it cannot read the file. So we'll just say transactions1, and let's try running our program again. Okay, could not open file. All right, see how it exited? It didn't print anything else. If you go back to this one, just to prove it to you, you'll put a print statement here saying this line is after the check if the file opened. So I'm just going to put this statement here and just prove that we're actually exiting the program here. Okay, so if we exited the program, this line should not be displayed. All right, so let's do gcc main.c again. a.out, and error could not open file. So we didn't see the statement, right? That's good. But let's see, what if we don't exit and we do, let's see, what if we do, so this is how you comment out lines of code. So in C, if your program sees this slashes, then it knows that to ignore this line of code. And you can type comments like, hello, this is to exit the program if there's an error. So your compiler will just, it's not going to care about this line anymore. You can actually write notes to yourself there. Okay, gcc main.c, let's compile it again. So now let's run this. All right, so we ran it, and then it says error could not open file. And this line is after the check if the file is open. So there's that statement that we created, that we wrote here. So it means that we're actually, when the error happened, we continue, the file or the program continues going about its business, and it executes this line of code, executes this line of code, executes this line of code, and etc. And then you see a segmentation fault. That means there's something wrong with the memory, and something is not allocated correctly. So he's saying there's something wrong with one of these lines here. And let's comment them out, see which line is the one that's causing the problem. So let's comment them out, and 8.out. Okay, so now the segmentation fault is gone. But I bet this is the one, this is the line that caused the error. So let's try it again. Okay, so that's where the error happened. All right, so let's remove that, and then let's uncomment this just for completion's sake. So this is the end of my tutorial. Just want to clean it up for completion's sake. And I just want to have a program that works, even though it doesn't really matter because I'm going to delete this file later. Oh, I could not open file. Oh, it's because we didn't change the name back. Okay, let's change the name back, and boom. All right, so that's my tutorial. Do you guys have any questions for me? Anything was confusing to you? Feel free to ask. And also, where are you guys on your programming journey? Are you just starting out? Are you what got you interested to start learning how to program? I would like to hear your thoughts about those kinds of things, so I can know how to make better content for you. And what kind of programming language are you working on right now? Are you trying to learn C? Please let me know. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. Or what about what kind of application are you working on right now that you want to learn how to open a file or read in data from a file? What kind of application are you thinking to create? So feel free to let me know what your thoughts are. Also, if you haven't downloaded it already, I have that programming guide. This programming guide will teach you how to go from no coding experience to building your first application. I think this will be really good for you, because when I was in university, when I was learning how to program, I needed to have projects, and projects are the best way to learn how to program. So hopefully you can download that guide and also have some sort of fun project to do. All right, so thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining this live. We got 3 more videos for you. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm not going to do any more coding tutorials, but I'm just going to talk about general programming and try to answer some popular questions I see online. And hopefully it's helpful to you. All right, peace.